We'll cover it when we get there. But thank you for coming. Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning for these important awards. My name is Tim Moon, and I'm the Dean of Rhetoric here. In case you do not know, Mrs. McKinney wanted to be here to open this up, but she got accident out there on the road and keeping her from getting through. So I'm going to start this off for her. Before I do that, I want to open us in prayer. Can we do that? Lord, thank you for this morning. Thank you for this opportunity to celebrate the things that you have helped us accomplish throughout the year. Thank you for all these diligent students, and thank you for Mr. Michaels and all the work they put in to make this happen. We ask you to be here and bless this time in Jesus' name. Last year, Mr. Michaels came to me and talked to me about the Civics project, and I'd never been involved and didn't have a lot of knowledge about it. But thankfully, Mr. Michaels did, and he encouraged us to do this. And because the first time I've ever seen something like this at a school, I didn't expect it to be perfect. I didn't have really high expectations. This year's 11th graders, I have very high expectations for you. But it exceeded all my wildest expectations when I actually saw the presentations, and I know the next group will also. And I got to give Mr. Michaels great credit for that. So thank you, Mr. Michaels. I would like to, at this present time, introduce Mr. Michaels. Take us from here. Thank you very much, Mr. Michaels.
All right. First of all, the Civics program it used to be a state competition in the state of Texas, and COVID killed it because not much school participated. And it stayed alive. I think there's 18 states that do it, and it's a state competition. And so, right after the COVID was over, I called Megan Brandon, who's the second command of the whole thing. I said, we'd still like to do it if we could. She said, well, we can't. We don't do this in Texas anymore. And I said, could I use all the information you sent me last year? Could I have done it the year before? And could we do it that way? And she said, okay. And I kept sending stuff to her and advice to her. And she said, Ronnie, let's let your group compete. I said, how's that possible? She goes, well, when you finish, let me know. You'll present it to me, and then we'll score you. And then we'll take that score, and whatever state is meeting that next weekend, if they do it at the end of the year, whatever state's meeting that weekend, we will compete against that state. Only thing I can't tell you which state you're competing against, because I don't want your winner. If you win, I don't want you to say, we won the California State Champion. And they say, no. And then somebody knows somebody that won and said, no, we won it. And no, we won it. And then they get in trouble because we're not paying for this at all anymore. We did our first year that we did this. We paid the fee and we did it. We competed and we went out to downtown Austin and competed. And we only won one award the first year I was here. And then this year, we just knocked it out of the park. Megan has asked me to videotape this. That's why the video, because she wants to show it. She says, these are whole awards. I want to show what perfection looks like. I'm going to say, I don't expect anybody to do one this high quality, but this is what perfection looks like. Now, we didn't get perfect. We only won 7 out of the 8 awards. so we didn't get it perfect. But by far, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And this is a student-ran civics program. I did about 8 to 9 weeks of it, and then I turned it over to the students. So I did the first project with them, and then it's no longer me. It is student-ran, it's student-based, the students have to do everything. So it's not me that gets the credit, it's these students. Because I've taught the civics thing this will be my 5th time or 4th time to teach it. We get a 5th time to teach it, and I will say this. Nobody did this good. Nobody became close to doing what you're about to see. The first thing we did is I did a civics program when I ran the thing. I said, this is the civics you're going to do. This is how it's going to be done. But even that was student-inspired. I stole her, I'll talk about that in a little bit. I stole her idea from a previous year and ran with it, and it worked great. And then I backed off, and the students took over. So what I like to do is, Ms. McKinney, do you have some words you want to say? Do you want to say it at the end?
Whatever you would like.
But we're glad you finish your stuff at the end.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Sounds
And then that's what now I want to go ahead and turn it over to the students because this is a student base. And so I'm going to turn it over to Max. And Max is going to introduce it. And then the way it's done at Civics Day is I don't even introduce them. They introduce themselves. So pretend I'm not here. And we're starting over, okay? So Max, you're in control.
Morning, everybody.
One thing some students have to know, I'm sorry. When we did this live. We had practiced for 2 or 3 weeks on it, and we had done it fresh. It was on our brain, and I just told these students 7 months after they had done this, you got 1 day to get ready for it. Let's do this. And I want to go with your history classes, and I want to go with your government classes. We did it last year. We come back. So some of them are allowed to bring the notes up. When they presented it the first time, they did not have any notes with them. They did it just from memory. Some are going to come up with notes because it has been 7 months since we've done this presentation. Okay, sorry, Max, go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. How's it going? My name is Max Kading. I mean, most of you guys know me. Anybody watching online? My name is Max Kading. I'm here to introduce civics to you. Now, as Coach Michael said just a second ago, although we pretend like he didn't say, we competed in the Generation Civics competition, Generation Citizen competition, which normally would happen in the state of Texas, since we didn't have it this year, we sort of anonymously competed with another state. And what we did was we were given this Civics Hourglass, and what it does is it focuses in on a central idea from a broader spectrum of things, and then eventually we broaden out as to how we can make an impact on that. And I have 3 projects here that sort of followed that guidelines. We have our children's book, which Cora will talk about in a minute, our blood drive, which I think Aaliyah will talk about in a minute, and then we have our foster care, which Madeline will come up and talk about in a second. Now, one thing that was really important to the creation of this class and the creation of all of our projects was actually the idea of consensus, which is written in our Constitution right here, which I actually have with us. Now, under Article 1, Section 1, consensus on ideas, I'll read the whole thing for you real quick. If an idea is presented, all students must participate in finding consensus. This will be done using a threshold method. Each student will put forward their stance through a number of 1 to 5. For something to go through, the class average must be above a 3.5 consensus rate. If any person puts forward a 1 as their stance, the vote cannot go through. Instead, the idea must be altered to bring the person to at least a 1.5 consensus level. If these 2 conditions are presumed to abstain from the vote, if these 2 conditions are met, the idea can be put into action. Non-present members are presumed to be abstain from it. Now, what that did is it brought us together as a class, because the idea of consensus, in my opinion, is a lot better than the idea of voting. I have a little visual representation of what consensus looks like. This is like Coach Michael's room. We had posters up on the wall. It was super cool. But 1 would be like a strongly disagree, and 5 would be a strongly agree. Or maybe it was the other way around. I can't remember now. So we came up with that together as a class. I think that was the whole point of this project, was to be together as a class. Without further ado, Laura.
We'll delay the speak for about a minute. Grab a seat. So nobody else say it.
Hello, my name is Cora, and I am representing the children's book project that we did in civics last year. This was the first out of 3 projects that our class completed to get our civics year going. This practice was designed by Coach Michael to set up our civics class and show us the way it works. We decided on a consensus, which Max said earlier, into which people would partner up into the groups, and this we used our class constitution. The reason we did the civics children's book project was because I influenced Mr. Michael's decision to make this project for our class. I made a pop-up children's book about Robin Hood sophomore year, and this gave him such a good outlook to what we could do. So this is what I did real fast and just show you. This is pop. And Mr. Michael thought it would be a good way to use our resources and creativity while giving back to our own community and our library while also engaging with the kids to want them to get to read. The process it took to complete these books was to brainstorm the topics. So we had 3 groups, history, science, and fiction, and these were what we split into groups for. Then we determined the storyline, and each student was assigned a part of the planning. And for this, no one argued. No one was like, I want to do this, I want to do this. So it was really easy, and we didn't have to use our constitution because we all knew what we wanted to do. And then we had to research the facts and make sure the stories were correct because we didn't want to be giving false information to children. And we had to write what each page was going to say. So we had a writer that did this, and then we had an illustrator, and we had a planner, and we had a researcher. So everyone had their own little part. After the words were written, the illustrator created the pictures to match the words, and we made the rough draft and put it all together and created the cover. Then Mr. Michael sent it to a publishing company, and then we coordinated a date and a time to go read our books to the little kids in the grammar school. Our major inspiration for this was how reading affects children, and the Children's Bureau and Children's Mind Institute acknowledges that reading in early childhood is linked with better sources of comprehension assessments and better educational attainment in young people. So it helps with fewer mental health problems. It spends less time on electronic devices. You get a good cognitive benefit. It's fine motor skills. It can improve brain and memory function and keep your brain operating more effectively. Reading also enhances the connectivity of the brain, reduces stress, promotes relaxation, improves sleep, and potentially decreases the likelihood of developing Alzheimer's. So all the way around, this is a resource that we take advantage of. We learned and gained so many things through this first project because it wasn't just Mr. Michael who taught us and him who grew through this project, but us who grew. And so as I said, the three groups were literature, science, and fiction. And the first thing each group did was research why the kids didn't want to read and what the effects of reading were for the science, for this project. And then it was interesting to see all the different reasons that we would be able to create a storyline the way we wanted, with making it interesting for the elementary kids, so not just interesting for us, but interesting for them. And the illustrations really brought the books to life. It makes the storyline interesting, and each of the topics were so unique with the personalized drawings and the stories and the books in different shapes, which really grabs your attention. And after we finished reading to the kids, most had so many questions which showed that they were engaged and enjoyed learning about the topics. And we learned how to write a book, and we are now all published authors. As I said earlier, we coordinated a library date with the teachers and the first and fourth graders to go read all of our books to the students. Our books were the most checked out book in the library, and we still are. So when I went to check them out to show you, they weren't there, so we had to get different ones. As we heard, this project has not only given us experience and knowledge of creating it, but it has given back to our library. And the coolest thing about this project is that the idea was created by a student showing how students can influence anybody. And the little kids learn best from your students, so it just gives something for them to look forward to. We're not only leaving a legacy, but an opportunity for the future civics classes to have the same opportunity. This project gave back and influenced our community while paving the way for our next idea for our fundraiser. So I'm going to show you the books real fast. This is What is a Pirate? Butterfly. And this is Frankenstein. So as you can see, each of the books are a little bit of a different level, including all of the kids. And that is it for the teaching kids how to read and learn to influence them. And so now I'm going to welcome them.
Hey, hi y'all. My name is Olivia Corbin, and today I'm talking about our side of the blood drive. So about 7 months ago, our class was trying to figure out how to do a fundraiser. We went through many different ideas of how to do this. I think we had a bake sale for one of them, but in the end, we ended up choosing we wanted to do a blood drive. This took months of planning and coordinating, and we had to decide which blood we wanted to use to help host. And so we went through Red Cross, and then we found We Are Blood, and then with their coordinating with us and their planning, and then as well money, we also got to meet Gabriella, who helped us through all of this. And then it ended up being very, fairly successful. This was our first student-led project, so we gotta like all step up and we all gotta learn what it's like to help host an actual blood drive at the school. And then as I continue, it's the blood that I'm going to talk about, or the blood drive, is a lot of research based because we wanted to research about the blood, what it is, how it looks like, and then what we can do. And then we chose to do this specifically during National Blood Month because that is when the shortage of the blood is in very much need. So then how we went about planning, we had two captains who took on the interviewing, the finding the right blood drive we wanted to do, when we wanted to do it, and then we also had some people like saying just how we were going to get it out and get the word out, because if we didn't have any people show up, then we wouldn't have any people donating blood, which means we wouldn't have any money for our fundraiser or what we wanted to do in the future. So yeah, we did end up going with the We Are Blood, and it went very successful. And because of the scheduling, we also, like I said, I wanted to make sure we did it in January because January at the beginning of each year is whenever the blood is the most shortage. And then I want to read a quote saying how impactful the blood drives are, because it's not about just giving the blood and it's not about a simple act, it's also about like saving lives. So Red Cross Blood Donation states, every day blood donors help patients of all ages, accident and burn victims, heart surgery and organ transplant patients, and those even battling cancer. Every 2 seconds someone in the US needs blood. So that also just states that like if no one is giving blood, then how are all those people going to be able to get the help in their lives? And then another quote from HH Gov says, it helps people in need and it allows people in your community. When you give, others live. Donors, especially those who donate regularly, keep our nation's blood supply stable. And although many people donate blood after disasters, blood is needed every single day of the week. So it's not also just about the people who need the blood, it's also about the act of giving the blood to people because it allows people to start serving in the community. And then overall, throughout this whole entire fundraiser, we actually got to raise $375. And then we'll talk about it in a little bit, but we actually got to use that towards our next step in our civics project. But something that stuck out very much that I wanted to say today was the interview that we actually got to do with Gabrielle Castillo, who is a part of the company with the We Are Blood, and she was the one coming in to talk to us about how we're going to do it, and she came and she did all the tours, and she was really awesome. And she partnered with us, and yeah, it's one of the questions made a big impact. But we wanted to start with something simple, just asking like, how many years have you been doing this? Is it your first year? Are you well known with it? And then so she responded with she's been doing it for 9 years. And then we just asked, what made you choose this job specifically? And then she actually said she applied for a surgical tech position, and then they were all full, so she didn't get that position. So they asked her to be a part of the mobile team. So she tried it out, and she ended up liking it, so she stayed where she was. And then this one was the really impactful question. We just asked, have you had any heart-to-heart experiences with any of the donors or etc.? Because we know that, like I said, it's not about just giving the blood, it's about having those heart-to-heart experiences, and it's a lot more than just giving blood to someone. And then she said she has had many types of blood drives, but she recalls one specific replacement blood drive, and then she was the team supervisor, and that's not the position she is now, but she drew the mom's blood that was donating on behalf of her son that was fighting cancer, and he was there on the bus cheering her on, and it was a wonderful feeling, and being a part of their connection was nothing words can describe. So yeah, that was just like an awesome way to just help get out the word and uplift that giving blood is not just about doing an act. We then just we asked, what was your favorite part? And she said, knowing that young donors like yourselves are part of this life-saving gift. You may never meet the person who you're donating the blood for, but you know that you are someone's hero that day. And then we just asked her, what was it like working with Sterling? Who do you want to know in the future? How can we help? And how can we better? And she said it was just a great experience, and then she loves that our teacher reporter, Mr. Michael, is so involved with the program. And then we also asked, would you be interested in partnering with us this year, if that was something that we were looking for? And then she said, well, of course, we would love to keep your partnership. It means a lot to us at We Are Blood, and also the local hospitals and patients. And then last question, we wanted to know what kind of blood type was the most wanted or needed. She said O negative is the universal universal donor for red blood cells, and AB positive is the universal donor for plasma. And then to finish wrapping up, our civics class took a provocative approach to the blood shortage problem that occurs at the start of every single year, which is in January. And not only did we orchestrate a blood drive to supply 10 counties in the heart of Texas with blood, but we used the money, the $375, we were able to help use that money and use all of it towards clothing the less fortunate in Austin. And I think Adam's going to go talk about that right now. Hi, I'm Natalie Ford, and I'm going to be talking about our experience with Foster Village. So, while the blood drive itself was a civic act, it was actually our fundraiser for what we were going to do in our next steps. So, like she said, we raised $375, and we then had to decide where are we going to put that money. So, we ended up talking and discussing different issues that we think were worth putting the money towards, and we decided that we wanted to help out the foster care system. So, we started doing some research and learning about, like, well, how can we help them? And we learned about the ways that the foster families are just so underprepared oftentimes for the children that they have to foster. Taylor was in contact with Foster Village, and with this woman named Caitlin, and she was the person that showed us around the facility when we ended up visiting. But she had a personal story about herself as a foster parent, talking about how she got a call offering, like, hey, can we drop a girl off at your house to foster? And she's like, absolutely. And they show up an hour later with that child only wearing a diaper, no other supplies. And while she has the resource of Foster Village because she works there and she's very close to it and she could just run there, grab the supplies, that's not the case for every foster family. And even 50% of foster families close their doors after their first child because of how much of a shock and overwhelming experience it is because they're so underprepared and underfunded. And so we decided to use that money and put it towards Foster Village in some way. So we asked, hey, what kind of supplies do you guys need? And she's like, we always need clothing. And so we used that money to buy, I believe, almost 100 articles of child's clothing, and we brought it to Foster Village. We all went up there, and we were split into 3 different groups, and we had 3 different types of jobs. One of which was inventorying all the clothing we just brought. The second was storing everything away where it belongs. The facility was organized by age and need and that sort of thing, because obviously newborn babies are going to need things such as bottles and crib sheets and that sort of thing, while the older kids might get some books or some toys, that sort of thing. So we wanted to make sure we put everything where it belonged. That way, the people volunteering there, as well as foster parents, would be able to actually find those supplies. And then our third group was technically split in half because we had 2 different groups making care packages for 2 different children. And those care packages just had some clothing and some toys, and if the parents required certain things, they were like, hey, we need sheets for the crib, or we need an extra bottle, that sort of thing. We would stock that in there. And that was the group I personally was a part of, and it was really fun because I got to choose out all these adorable baby clothing. And something that was so fun for me, I also got this fulfillment knowing that this is just a very simple task that I was doing, but it was going to relieve so much weight off of this family by providing this for them so they don't have to worry about it. But that was kind of just an overview of what we did, but Max kind of introduced the idea of the Generation Citizens Hourglass, and you can see that on our board, and I'm going to kind of go over it. It basically summarizes our thought process when it came to trying to decide what we were going to do. So we had to choose a community issue, and we all came to the consensus that we wanted to talk about the foster care system. We decided our focus issue where foster children and families are not getting the supplies, supports, or funding that they need to properly care for these children. We decided our root cause
goal was to help supply essentials to specifically foster village. Our stakeholders were the foster families, the foster village members, and then obviously our Sterling Civics class. And then our action was to volunteer at foster village as well as raise money to supply clothing. So it honestly was just a wonderful experience, and I'm so glad that we got to do it, and that we not only were able to do a civic act with the blood drive, but then we were able to put the money that we earned to another civic act, just continuing that cycle of feeding into our community. And with that, I'm going to invite Hayden to close us.
To release the ninth graders, we're running a little long. One is because we'll have them apologize because again, this was so polished that it was, it's a citizen, they haven't done this in 7 months. We've gone just a little bit long, and they have a test today. They need to be dismissed. The ninth graders, you need to go to